Fam, did you want to talk about anything else? Maybe
No.
Elizabeth Warren?
Oh, yeah. So I got a little pissed at Warren, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, because I got some people that say that she's really not doing what I'm saying she's doing. So Elizabeth Warren posted this tweet, and she says, our president shouldn't be squandering American influence on
This is
photo ops
disgusting.
and exchanging love letters with a ruthless dictator. Instead, we should be dealing with North Korea through principled diplomacy that promotes U.S. security, defends our allies, and upholds human rights. So this is in retort to the Washington Post talking about how President Trump was meeting with Kim Jung Un in North Korea, and he's making history crossing the border, the militarized zone, blah, blah, blah. So here's the thing. While I agree with Warren that he shouldn't be wasting time with photo ops, that's not what he's doing here. I understand why you would think that, and a lot of the American public will think that, because he has been like that sort of president that loves to just get attention on himself and really do nothing. And yes, you can call him out on that, absolutely. But here's the part I don't like. The fact that she's continuing the idea of calling him a ruthless dictator, without giving us info as to exactly why are we continuing to push this kind of idea that we have to be against North Korea when we're trying to avoid war. Secondly, she says we should be dealing with North Korea through principled diplomacy that promotes U.S. security. I'm all right with being dealing with North Korea through diplomacy, but when you add the part that says that promotes U.S. security, you're actually talking about something else. What else on earth promotes U.S. security in the American way than war and sanctions and making sure that we are looking at these people as adversaries? That's what's always historically promoted U.S. security. So I look at that and I say military jargon. And then the last one, defends our allies and upholds human rights. Defends our allies. So now we're saying we're arming ourselves with our allies through our language. And we're saying, okay, this is all fluff talk for Trump should be there like as an adversary, pretty much willing and ready to go to war because Kim Jung Un is a dictator and he threatens our democracy because he threatens our money and upholds human rights. This is how they get you. This is like the hook right here. Human rights. They like to say that we care about human rights when time and time again they've shown through actions, through Yemen, through what we've done in the Middle East, the regime changes in Honduras, that we care about human rights. No, we're not doing any of this for human rights. We are all doing this for money-eyed interest and our imperialist desires. Okay. And that's the truth.
I listen, fam. I'm just like if I can be like, every single thing you said there. And Johnny, Warren putting the war in Warren is genius up there. We have said this before, ladies and gentlemen. This woman is horrible on foreign affairs. Now, I kind of wanted to go to my tweet, not just to show off my Twitter and stuff, but I can put up some numbers because we have to put things in perspective. When we went into Korea and we did this, if you ever ask anybody, why did we go into Korea in the first place? They won't be able to give you an answer. A lot of people think it was part of American imperialism to show, right after World War II, to show the Russians, to show the Chinese that we're the military might in the world. But while doing that, you have to hit tweets and stuff above because I did it under Elizabeth Warren's name, excuse me. But when we did this, we killed 4.5 million Koreans over like 3 or 4 years, okay? It was disgusting. 3 out of every 4 of those humans that were killed were civilians. We still have 40,000 troops in Seoul, Korea, doing drills every year. And guess what, Johnny? You know who pays for that? We do. You do. The taxpayer. We're still in freaking Korea. We still haven't ended the war. And when Donald Trump, and I don't care if you like Donald Trump, when he goes over to do that, the first president stepping into the North Korean zone, that's about peace. That's about peace. I don't care if it's Marvin the Martian finding fucking peace. It's peace. The fact that you mock him on that just shows you the liberals. Being liberal nowadays, they're warmongers. How can you be a liberal and be a warmonger?
Apparently, that's okay. Yeah. As long as we're okay here, the rest of the world can go to hell, according to the neoliberal establishment.
If you're progressive and you support Elizabeth Warren, guess what? You're not progressive.
I 100%
You're not
agree
progressive
with that.
anymore. Let's get that through your head. You're not fucking progressive.
beyond done with her. I am not supporting her.
And
in
I
any
can't
way,
wait
shape,
for
or
these
form.
debates when her and Tulsi are left alone, and she has to talk foreign policy. If you guys didn't notice that she talked a lot in the first part of the debate, the second part of the debate, the establishment and the mainstream media shut her down. They coddled her. They said, let's not put her out there to get killed. But Tim Ryan, he's not one of their chosen ones.
So I have to be fair and say that Bernie Sanders did also say, made a comment on this, and he says, I have no problem with Donald Trump sitting with Kim Jong on North Korea or any place else, but I don't want it simply to be a phony photo opportunity. The whole world's media was attracted there. Listen, Sanders said Sunday in an interview, referring to the moment when Trump became the first sitting U.S. president, what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day? He has weakened the State Department. We need to move forward diplomatically, not just do photo opportunities. Right now, he is still in provocative terms almost moving towards a war with Iran. He vetoed legislation that I supported and that we won in the Senate and one in the House, which would get the United States out of the horrific war in Yemen, which is led by the brutal dictator Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Can we talk about this real talk
I'm
right
going
now?
to talk about this.
Let's talk about this real talk.
I don't think it's the same thing as what she said. I think he should have left off the photo op thing because I don't know who got it from who. I don't know who got it from who, but I think he is tying it to his miscalculations and his misgoings in Saudi Arabia and with Iran, how he was trying to go to war. That's exactly what Trump has tried to do. He's tried to go to war with these places, so he's tying it in with that.
Okay, well, first off, if he wants to understand that, first of all, I have a question for Marnie.
And Yemen.
Well, let me ask you a question, fam.
Yeah.
And I want to say this because, first of all, just simply on Sanders, Johnny, if we can find anything Tulsi said about North Korea, I'd like to see it if we can find anything. But let me say this so much. This was the wrong approach, okay? Bernie Sanders should have took the opportunity, said, this is great. This is awesome that he's doing this in South Korea and North Korea and doing that. Hold on, let me just finish. He said he should have said this is great. However, we also need to emulate the same type of peace process in Iran and go into it. When he's talking negatively about it and saying that it's a photo op, but still saying
he didn't say
it's
it
good,
was a photo op. He said, "I hope it's more than that."
That's still manufacturing some form of consent.
But no, because I told you I didn't have a problem with Elizabeth Warren saying that.
He needs to praise this peace process.
You can't praise Trump. And when going into an election as a Democratic candidate, you can't praise him.
You can praise the actions.
You can praise the actions.
There are plenty other actions.
You can praise the actions.
And that's when he's going to win votes because he's not being hypocritical. He's going to oppose him when he does bad, and he's going to praise him when he does good. No president has stepped over the DNV ever, I think, or since they've created it in 1950. He went over and did it. It's a talk of a peace process. He should have followed up and said, great move, Donald Trump. Now let's follow up by pulling our troops out there and saving the American tax people dollars money, and let's end the war. Let's get the peace process going. He could have piggybacked on it, but I understand he's running for president. But these are the opportunities that you cannot miss because when it comes to foreign policy, you got to get better. And Elizabeth Warren completely
She was advocating for war. He's more so tying his misgivings with the whole situation, which he has. Again, I didn't have a problem with Elizabeth Warren talking about the photo op. I really didn't have a problem with that because he has done that. He deserves that kind of criticism. He goes in and does that.
But not in this incident.
Everything else that she said, no. I think the difference here is one is tying it to his misgivings in trying to go, just giving into Saudi Arabia, giving into Iran, not actually wanting to go with Iran and rejecting the Yemen bill that Bernie put out. I think that was something that he definitely was pissed about and alluded to because Trump isn't this sort of peace candidate. He's not. So we can't say that.
Let me ask you a question though, and I'm going to ask my MCSC audience, MCSC, YouTube Convo Couch audience, Facebook audience. Let me ask you guys a question: who is better on foreign affairs, Barack Obama or Donald Trump?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Go ahead.
Donald Trump.
Okay. Do you think he would have had this talk when it came to Obama if Obama did this sort of situation? No, he would have been praising him up and down. And even Bill Maher said with the Iran call, we would have been praising Obama up and down. But right now, when he does something good, and I'm sorry, when it comes to peace talk, it's got to be praised. Even Michael Tracy put out a great tweet. I don't care how you feel about this man.
But he hasn't done anything yet, Pasta. He's crossed the border.
That is a big move to go over there.
Is. No
He's
one's
setting up
saying
the
that.
table for the next guy to come in.
No one's saying that, but
Yeah.
you're not going to get people to praise him because he's
You
not
have to
worthy
praise
of
his
that
action.
praise.
For this
No,
action,
no.
he is.
No.
Huh?
No, you're not going to do that.
Maybe not in the primary right now.
Okay, but you don't squash or go at him for this. This is a peace process. You could be manufacturing consent when you say shit like this is bad.
He didn't say this is bad. He said this is. I hope
He
this is not
cherry-picked.
just a photo op.
It
Because
wasn't
he
as
has
bad as
done-
Warren, but he could be better on this.
We need real diplomacy.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
He should
And
have said
did
this
it-
is the start of real diplomacy. We need to take it
He could
further.
have done it more positively, I agree, or less negatively. But
I
Bernie
think the
does not
situ-
like Donald Trump, and he's made that very clear.
Look at our
And
audience.
that's how he is.
Joe Rodriguez says neither. Rocky Bellinger says Donald Trump. I agree. Michael Cruz says Trump. What peace process? This is an endorsement of the NK regime and points scored for election 2020. I don't know what she's talking about.
No.
Unknown space pioneer.
Well, why
Okay.
would you say that?
Joe Rodriguez. Mike Walker. It is a process. I don't know if that's like.
Setting up the table. I like what Paz was saying when you were talking about the Iran,
The debate question.
drone that got
Yes.
shut down, and how Trump, decided not to go.
Yes, not the bomb.
Yeah.
You kind of described how having Pompeo and Bolton as like what, dogs on a leash.
Well, I mean, the only explanation, and we've expected, like, when Pompeo and Bolton got hired, and when you have people like Abrams, we expected to already be in Venezuela with a coup. We expected to already bomb Iran. I mean, if it was the Hillary Clinton neoliberal, we would have probably expected that. But what I said, the only, and I said I wish he would fire these guys, and I'm hoping he would. I think he used the tactic as he had the craziest, most vicious dogs on a leash, and he let them get up right to the faces and bark and bark and bark. And these other countries like Iran, like Venezuela, were like, well, he has Pompeo, he has Bolton, we have to negotiate with him because these guys are crazy and they're going to attack us. So I think he tried to force them into a negotiation process, having the craziest dogs on the leash that he threatened to let loose. But here's the thing, he never let them loose. We didn't go into Venezuela. We didn't bomb Iran. In fact, as a matter of fact, he did the opposite, and then he follows up right now.
But we didn't just not go into Venezuela because of Donald Trump. We did not go into Venezuela because the people there fought really hard for us to not go, to not get involved.
I hear you. And the sanctions are still horrible. The sanctions kill poor people, and I wish people...
He's not an anti-war president in any way, shape, or form.
No. But we do have to recognize the fact that he's been better than some of the neoliberals that just held office.
I
because
agree.
their rhetoric, and I really tried, fam, and it's really hard. After the Tulsi tweet, when we didn't watch mainstream media, there was a lot of stuff going on mainstream media that we went back like, so I'm trying to force myself to watch a little bit more mainstream media to see the bullshit they're talking about, and it's really, really hard. But they're pushing, and even Anna on TYT, they're pushing this narrative that, Donald Trump's a war president, and we got to get us back in control. Meanwhile, on stage, all these Democratic candidates are talking about China as an adversary, that we have to worry about Russia. They're just as warmongering, if not more, than Donald Trump. So I'm not sitting here and trying to say he's the peace candidate, but I am trying to say that we can't just digress to what we have.
And Democrats are going to lose again if they don't listen to the fact that people are realizing that they are just as bad or worse when it comes to foreign policy. They just are.
And then I also think, if he is doing it, I don't think he's intelligent enough to do that strategy, right? To even do the whole holding these vicious dogs.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
I don't think he's that intelligent, but
I think people think they claim he's too stupid. I don't think he's the brightest man in the face of the earth, but
if he knows how to work,
been around.
I don't know. He's been a businessman or whatever. But the other thing that gets me is that they're still pushing for resource extraction, right?
Absolutely.
His Warhawks or Chicken Hawks or whatever,
Chicken Hawks. Thank you, Tulsi.
Yeah. I want to say something. Somebody put this on the line, and Tim Flowbug, who's on the CONVO Couch YouTube, he said, encourage North and South Korea to do it themselves. They want it. You're absolutely right. He started that process, but then Bolton and Pompeo destroyed it. Okay? Now he's trying to get it back on the table, and hopefully he'll get rid of these people if we really wanted to. And this is the point I'm trying to make. Bernie Sanders has to make sure that he is unequivocally the biggest anti-regime, anti-imperialist president out there. He's got to get closer to Tulsi. So he has to say, I encourage peace processes with North and South Korea. It's time. He should have just piggybacked. We have to go further. And I'll go further than Donald Trump did.
Did you find anything on Tulsi?
Tulsi made a comment previously about let's see, when was it? May 4th?
Okay.
2018, though.
Let's 2018, but let's see what she said back then.
North Korea opportunity, not about Trump, but peace.
Yeah.
Let's see
Yeah.
it.
Some unconventional, really unprecedented diplomatic moves. The Trump administration looks like it could be about to achieve long-term peace with North Korea, which is amazing and unexpected. In the Middle East, though, the administration appears to be moving toward a possible showdown with Iran. Is this wise? And could, in fact, feuding with Iran imperil negotiations on the Korean Peninsula? Here's what Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii had to say about it. We talked to her a minute ago. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard is a Democrat representing the state of Hawaii, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, thanks for coming on. You've been, I would say, nonpartisan in your assessment of foreign policy issues. You're for some, you're against others connected to the administration based on whether you agree with them. So given that, what's your view of what's unfolding in North Korea?
Well, Tucker, this is actually a really historic opportunity that we see unfolding before us right now. Important to the people of my home state of Hawaii, the people of this country, and to the world, where we have an opportunity to make an agreement that will denuclearize North Korea and help move us closer towards peace. Whatever people feel about Donald Trump, whether they like him or they don't like him, this is the time for people to rise above the partisan politics, recognize this is not about Donald Trump. This is about peace for the American people and for the world, and the opportunity to make an agreement that will finally end the Korean War and bring about the denuclearization of North Korea. If we fail to do this, if President Trump is not successful in this, the consequences would be dire for the people of this country.
That's the language I'm talking about, fam.
Yep.
That's the language
That is
right
perfect.
there. When you call Kim Jung Un a dictator, you're manufacturing consent for your imperialistic warmongering ways. When you call Maduro a dictator, you're manufacturing consent for your imperialistic militaristic ways. When you call Assad a dictator, you're manufacturing consent for your imperialistic warmongering ways.
Let's
And
remember.
So did Elizabeth Warren.
Let's remember. Yeah, I asked someone on Twitter, "Can you please tell me why Kim Un is a dictator?" And because are you just repeating this because
A
you
brutal
hear
dictator.
it from the mainstream media? This
Yeah.
is why you got same thing with Assad in Syria.
Yeah.
Same thing with Maduro in Venezuela, as he has said. But we have to remember that FDR was great domestically for a lot of white working class people, but FDR was not great on foreign policy. And here's the Tulsi Gabbard effect, is that she is amazing when it comes to foreign policy, and she absolutely puts the logic over the initial emotions that a lot of the left get, where if Trump's doing it, then I can't even say anything good about it. And then they're manufacturing consent that way, because then people are like okay with us not being okay avoiding war with North Korea. We'd rather have Trump fail at that, which might lead into nuclear war, which is bad. It's bad for everybody. It doesn't matter. And that's what Pasta's trying to get to. And I agree with you on that, is that it's not about praising Trump. It's not about squashing him either. This is about peace and making sure that neither the American people or people abroad suffer either in death or economically because of the effects of war, and nuclear war would also destroy our planet as well.
Yeah.
Tulsi gets it.